Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Step inside, step inside. Just a little bit. So I was feeling very MGT-ish this morning, but to be honest, I really don't want to do an MGT because we just did a bunch of those not too long ago. And that, my friends, leads us to this mess. And what a mess this is. But let me show you what we got going on. What we got going on here is what I do believe to be the first Hobao branded anything sold in the United States, not OFNA. And this was an on-road touring car. And for whatever reason, after getting over my little fit of MGT, I decided, let's do a 10-scale touring car. Now what this thing is, it is a 2005 Hobao Hyper GTX4. And what I'm going to call this in the most layman's of terms is going to be the improper pan car. Now at first glance, you look at this thing, she's a 3-bell car, she's a pan style car, but what would make it so improper? Well, improper, these things actually came with pull starts, not with bump starts. And then you combine that, the fact they have an actual true Syntax clutch on them, generally these things were bump start. But again, this is a Hobao branded 12. And it also came with this kick-ass Murcielago body, but I do not believe it would have came with these HPI tires. So this thing came to me from my buddy Joey Nitro up in Melbourne, Florida. He's actually moved to Sebastian since then, and he sold me this car. I couldn't even tell you, I've had it for a couple of years, but all he told me that it was the pull start was missing, and the other issue was that the starter shaft itself was missing. Because as far as I know, this is one of the first SH-based OFNA branded engines that you'll actually find, because most of your OFNAs were either Picos or 90% were actually forcing. So missing those parts, this thing is an SG shaft rear exhaust slide carb. So I was going to put this little OS in there, or maybe even this Nova 12. This one's already got the Syntax racing clutch, but I could feel that it's got some issues. But these things aren't that hard to set up anyway, but that would defeat the purpose of what it is. To me, one of the more unique 10-scale pan cars, because these things actually came pull start. So knowing it was missing the axle to engage the internal one-way bearing, I went and pulled the back plate off, and believe it or not, she was sitting right there on bottom dead center. So I was like, that's kind of surprising. But we still needed the axle shaft, and that's where that mess over there. And guys, as soon as I pulled this back plate off, this is why I realized it was SH based. It was not force based, because force never used an internal one-way bearing. So I started looking through all this junk here. This is just a bunch of engine parts. So I couldn't find anything in there, but I did on the shelf find this XTM18, which I also know is SH based. So I can't find it now, but I pulled the axle out of it and it fit in here perfectly, and it certainly engaged the one way that it's supposed to engage, but it was 12 mil, not 10 mil. And of course, then I went back through all this crap and found this back plate back there, and it had the 10 mil starter shaft. And one of the funnier things that I found, this 10 mil starter axle, it was on this back plate. And if you look at this back plate, that is clearly Thunder Tiger. Clearly. See the way it comes out? This actually came off of a Pro 21. So now that I got the starter axle, I've got the one way, I've got the back plate, now I need a pull start. And well, this Hyper 21, actually this came off a Hyper 28 turbo motor. It had the correct dip, it had the 10 mil, but I'm not dealing with this junk right here. So I got super lucky, went through the pull starts, and I found another one off of a Hobao Hyper 28. So now I have the right 10 mil axle, I've got the back plate, I've got the one-way internal, I needed a pull start. And I found this thing, and don't get me wrong guys, if I was going to use this, I would just whack this little knob off here, put a handle on it, but I did luck out and found me an actual, no, not that guy, this guy right here, the Hobao pull start. It's got the dip in there and it fits that thing perfectly. But had I not dug through all this mess of pull starts and everything else, if I would have found the pull start first, I could have just went on the wall and picked up the 10 mil axle with the spring support on the back of it for Hyper 21, and I'm pretty sure that one's going to work. If not, we'll just go without the spring support. And I'm not even sure what had it, because I never had it. Never had one of these 12s taken apart. Yes guys, this is a little 12. So yeah guys, always check your walls first, because this thing, that little piece there, all that does is support the spring on the inside. You could probably live without it, but why live without something if you already have it? So let me go and get this whole thing put back together, and we'll see what we're looking at as far as the condition of the car. And I'm going to clean all this mess up real quick, because yeah, I'm generally not liking pull starters. because they're not my favorite. All right, so now that we're through all that and I got the engine unlocked, you guys want to see something kind of cool? Yeah, it, how would you say, it got plenty of compression. And that's why I kind of like buying cars with missing pull starters or bad pull starters, because that generally means they're going to be good. So the first thing we're going to do before we do anything, before we do any other electronics checks, anything like that, let's see if this thing's going to run. So we're going to give it a little tiny tickle. Grab our glow stick. That is a very good sign. So next thing we're going to do, I don't know if you guys can see in this tank, but it's full of some type of funk. So I'm going to go ahead and yeet the tank out real quick. I'm going to go ahead and blow it out with some brake clean. I got my can of brake clean over there, and we'll be back. So guys, yeah, this is the dirt we want to get out of this thing. All this stuff is on the inside, so brake clean. All right, so the fuel tank's nice and clean. She does have an internal filter, and we know she runs off a tickle bottle, so now we're going to see if she's going to run off her own fuel tank. And I did throw some fresh Dubro on there because, well, those other lines, well, again, I got a little bit of fuel lines, so why take the chance? Yeah, I know I just did that little jamming, but I like those little gray fuel lines that HPI provides. I should call them HPI style. We're going to tickle it, not drown it there. So let's see if she will run on her own fuel. Give her a bit more, as I thought I got a little too aggressive with it, so I dumped a little bit out. So there's that. Yeah, kind of bump that throttle close a little bit. All right, so I see some fuel coming through. Let's see if she'll actually float. Looks like she stopped right about there. Another little tickle. And guys, the reason I'm not like thumb priming this thing is this engine's so tight, I don't have enough hands to do that. Well, we're getting close. I voted we can get to that low speed, which we really can't. Now, you know what? Low speed's on this end. Let's open that up just a little bit. Give her about a half a turn. We may have to pull the inlet of the carburetor off and blow some brake clean in there, but I think it'll actually flow some fuel. That's exciting. When you pop this battery lid out of here, guess what? You're dealing with some double A's. A lot of those other pan cars, the 10 scales, take these goofy batteries and they don't make them anymore. So you're trying to scramble to find lipos that fit. Hope to God your servos and receiver can handle it. But so this thing is actually much more well suited for a hump pack. So while that thing's charging up on the charger, I'm gonna run this thing next door and blow some of the dust and some of the cobwebs off. So I don't see how a AA gang pack is actually going to fit in there with the wires, because I couldn't get it done. But that Tenergy 1600 milliamp hump pack, well, she sure did do the thing. And I went in and put the foams on there already because, well, it took about an hour for that battery to get charged. So I got her blown off. She's fairly clean. So what we're going to do now, once we get this done, is we're going to go ahead and pull the radio box off of it, and we are going to fly sky this thing no matter what's in that box, unless it's already got a fly sky in there. Guys, I know what you're thinking. Hand tools? Really? Yeah, well, my yeeter, cool, we got nothing in there. My yeeter's next door, and I have yet to go get her, so there's that. So let me go grab a fly sky. We're going to see if these servos are any good. All right, so fly sky in. Let's hope this switch is good. Hey, we are flashing like we are actually doing fine things. I already put the transmitter on channel 10. Hey, look at that. Let's get this bind plug out. Now we're gonna do something silly this time, guys. Let's see. Left turn, right turn. Okay, we got that right. I keep forgetting to make sure my channel directions are correct. And we are doing wonderful throttle things. So, next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go into fail-safe, channel 2, percentage-wise. Let's go about 70%, 80%, hey, whatever one works. We have a fail-safe and we have brakes. Let me go ahead and put this receiver cover back on. Alright guys, we are just going to get this thing, get our trims right. See if we got to touch the needles at all. She seems pretty good. She's a little rich, but I'll take it. It is 120 degrees out here. Plus I sugared the body, so I'm kind of waiting for it to let the sun dry it as it cooks me. She do drift good, I just don't want her drifting into a curb. Alright guys, I'm gonna shut her off for a couple minutes and wait for our body to dry. And she definitely drifts good. But we're on foam tires on 10-year-old asphalt. Just stay off the curves, big guy. That's all I ask. I'm contemplating going out on the road to see if she hit the 2-speed because there's a lot of transitions out there. Well guys, that's the first time for anything. I took this thing out on the road and it does not like that road out by U-Haul in between that catchment pond where that field is, because she does jump pretty good on that little drop, but she definitely hits the 2-speed. But the issue I had was, you know, I'm filming, everything's going good, and next thing you know, I get back to the camera, I'm looking at the base station, which is where, you know, the pod goes inside of it, and it just said charging will resume after unit overheats or something like that, after unit cools down. So I took the unit, which was sitting in the tailgate of my truck, and I hit it with my HPI, and this thing literally went to 175 degrees. And I'm like, all right, that's kind of interesting. Now the car's still running, still blowing good smoke. I pulled the body off of it. She's like 235. So guys, it is just too terribly hot to do any more filming out there today. But listen, this thing is an amazing rig. This thing flies. This rig, she got her sticker, GTX4 1011, so she is slot 10, transmitter 11. This thing runs good, it has great brakes, it drifts good, it's fairly stable for something being on foams. This, dare I say, is a Great Nitro, which means tires on the ground, good body, on radio, doing Great Nitro things. But listen guys, she also earned something else today. She is number 336 out of my goal of 500 running nitros. But listen guys, I will see you on the next one, hopefully on a cloudy day when it's not so friggin' hot.